I'm going to be talking a little bit about automation, where it stands in terms of the coffee industry and equipment. This topic was discussed when we made a video about our new Koenig E80 grinder, which has automation features that basically communicates with the espresso machine if it gets a shot outside its extraction time window that we set. For example, if it's getting a shot that is too long, the espresso machine has the ability to communicate with the grinder saying, "This shot is too long. Grinder, may you please adjust the grind and grind a little bit coarser." And then the grinder has the ability to go coarser within the grinder itself without the barista touching or changing or even knowing about anything, and thus creating a shot within the extraction time that we set. So automation in terms of coffee, I made a comment that said the barista's role is not being eliminated with automation, but it is being changed. And then I had many people asking me, what does this change mean and what will the barista do? So here are my thoughts. Over the last 10 to 15 years, we really have seen a coffee equipment progress. So 10 to 15 years ago, it was very common to have manual dosing grinders where we would dose the ground coffee into a chamber and then we'd be manually using a paddle into the portafilter. And nowadays with grinders, it's not uncommon to see automatic gravimetric grinders where we're giving the grinder our portafilter and it's spitting out an exact amount of weight that we set the grinder. Same with espresso machines. We've gone from lever style machines to relatively automated systems where we have built-in scales within the espresso machine and it's giving us a pre-desired amount of weight of espresso liquid. With tampers now, we've got many devices that automatically tamp the coffee to a preset weight, which is super easy, super convenient. On the milk front, we've got many automatic milk steamers, and now we're even starting to see some automatic milk pourers. So this really raises the question of, what does the barista do? Before I discuss where the role of the roaster is heading, I'm going to talk a little bit about the role of a coffee roaster, as both of these roles have similar futures as to where they're evolving and where they are heading. So we're very fortunate to have a Loring roaster, which is behind me, and these roasters are enclosed and they're fully automated. The roaster's got the ability to charge the green coffee into the roasting chamber, set certain gas and airflow settings, and once it's achieved a certain temperature or roast profile, it discharges the roasted coffee into the cooling chamber completely automatically without the roaster having to touch anything, and it even cools down the coffee automatically. And all the roaster has to do is discharge the roasted coffee into a bucket by just lifting up a flap. So has this eliminated the need of a coffee roaster? No. Has this eliminated or reduced the skill level of the person roasting the coffee? Absolutely not. And here's why. With older roasting and drum style machines, the coffee roaster is manually setting the gas, manually setting the airflow, and watching every second of the coffee roasting process. And now with these automated machines, the coffee roaster has the ability to sit back and allow the roaster to do its thing. So where's this role heading and why do they require just as much experience? So the automated machines have a roast profile that is set by the coffee roaster, and the coffee roaster gives that machine this set of instructions of how the coffee is going to be roasted, the temperature, the style of roast, the length of the roast, and these are the crucial and determining factors in how the coffee is going to taste as the end result. So the coffee roaster requires a significant amount of experience in setting these roast profiles to get the coffee tasting right into how they want it to taste in that particular or for that particular coffee itself. So the role of a coffee roaster is crucially important in understanding the profile, setting these parameters, and almost becoming like a programmer to get the coffee tasting right. The palate and the ability for the coffee roaster to taste coffee is just as important as ever, as these adjustments to the roast profile need to ensure that the coffee is going to be tasting better or according to how the coffee roaster wants the coffee to taste. So now where is the role of the barista heading? In my opinion, a similar direction. The barista is becoming more of a programmer, and it is becoming increasingly important for the barista to understand the coffee and the equipment that they're working with. About 10 to 15 years ago, we probably couldn't taste too much difference between an extraction shot of 25 seconds and 30 seconds. But nowadays, we're really honing in on extraction timing, brew ratios, espresso recipes, temperatures of the grinder and the espresso machine, and many other parameters involved with brewing. So it's the role now of the barista to make sure that the coffee is tasting right and make sure that they've understood all these parameters, how it affects the flavors of the coffee, and that they're setting these parameters so the coffee is tasting good throughout the day, which is an ever-changing thing. Now, this isn't a set and forget thing. Those of you in the coffee industry will really understand this. Those of you that aren't in the coffee industry may have some questions as why. Why can't we just set these parameters at both the barista for the espresso machine and then let that be the parameters throughout the day, week, month, year? Same as with the coffee roasting machine. We can't just set the roast profile and use that roast profile for the rest of the year. Coffee is an agriculture product and it is constantly changing based on season, based on availability, the way that it was processed, and even on the barista end, coffee is constantly changing, even if we've got the exact same set of beans. A particular day may have certain parameters that it's tasting in a way that it's good, and then the next day it may not be tasting the same. Why is this? Could be ambient temperature, humidity, but it could also be within the beans and the degassing process, being an agricultural product. This is something that is constantly changing. These fluctuations and changes are here to stay for a wee while, as coffee is an agricultural product grown on a tree. Unless coffee moves into a process being created in a lab, which could potentially become and make it more stable, but this won't be happening commercially anytime soon. I'd love to hear your thoughts on automation, where you think it's heading, and your opinions on it. And I thank you for watching.